Hello, everybody. Welcome to Link Scale Models. Thank you so much for stopping by today for Wednesday Show and Tell. And if you're new, welcome. And if you've been here before, welcome back. Okay, so what I figure I'd do today, there's a couple community questions going on out there, and I figured I'd put my 2 cents in on it. So Jason from Blue Ox, his community question is it okay to plateau? In other words, get to a certain point of your model building and be content with that and not to go any further. Uh, I would say yes, that it is absolutely. It depends what you want out of the hobby. For myself, I do not want to plateau right now. You know, uh, uh, because someday I am going to pass, and you know, my models are all going to be wherever I am, and I don't want people to say, "Oh, what am I going to do with this junk? Or just throw it in the trash." It would be kind of cool if someone's just like, "Oh, wow, this is cool," like, what should we do with it? Like, some throw it out, But so yeah, so that's how I feel on that, but uh, the biggest, most professional modeler in California, in Hollywood, I won't say is enjoying it any more than I am. I'm really enjoying the hobby. So yeah, I would say yeah, it is okay to plateau, depending on what you want out of it. I'm not ready to do that yet, and I hope to get much better. I hope to be. I'm hoping for another 20 years. We'll see what happens. All right. So then the next question is from Jason at KRD. I'm sorry, Jason, and his question was your other passions and that that you have and hobby related, and so modeling is my newest hobby. I started 3 years ago. Uh, you know, Growing up as a kid, I I had three sisters, no brothers, so it's not like there was a model kits hanging around everywhere. More Barbie dolls, and so I always had my whole life. I always had hobbies and passions, and because I had three sisters and I was the oldest, I kind of got to do, and the only boy, I kind of got to do a little bit more, like I could just on the weekend I could just go take off into the woods and say I'll see you, I'll be back, and at a young age too, like 15 years old, me and my boys go walk in the woods with our guns and tell our parents we'll see you in a couple of days, and that's what we did. So yeah, so fishing and the outdoors is been my biggest hobby for the most part of my life, and my COPD has kind of hampered that for me, So, and then my other hobby, my other passion is music. Uh, I absolutely love music, my whole life. Like at the house, me and my sisters, we had record players, and it was kind of cool. My parents would go to Ann and Hope, and we'd go with them, and I had saved up some money to buy some 45 or some records, and that was, that's a memory I'll never forget. You know what I mean? And it's been an excellent hobby, right to this day. I do a lot of research. I'm always looking for new bands. In fact, well, I'll show you in a minute. But yeah, so those are my two passions, and I don't get into it, but I mentioned before uh, how modeling has absolutely changed my life, like for the better. With the struggles I had, and so I can't thank this hobby enough. And like I say, I'm not the outdoorsman anymore, but music will always be there. All right, so I'm gonna flip you around here and show you a couple other things. All right, so I say how I like music, right? So last year, I don't know, I was sitting here one day and I'm like, you know what? I says, I'm going to start putting in on my Facebook. I said, I'm going to start having an artist a day, every day, and put up an album by that artist. Now, I started this last summer. And look at, so, I mean, I don't know, there's, I think 12, 13 pages of all artists and songs. So, you know, that other people might not know of and might spark their interest and they might say, hey, that's really cool. I like that. All right. And then I picked up a couple things for my guitars, some guitar polish, and then some fretboard hydrating polish. So that's really cool. All right. And then I was going out to the trash, and look what my neighbors threw out to the trash. You know, it's a little road worn, but hell, so am I. You know what I mean? I'll pull out that little dent. Whoops! I'll pull out that little dent right there and clean it up and put some 3-in-1 oil in that in the rails there, and that thing will be perfect. All right, next, picked up a new guitar pedal. This green one right here. Ibanez tube screener. I've been wanting one of those for quite a while, you know, so I finally pulled the trigger. This year, in case you haven't noticed, this year has kind of been like music stuff that I bought this year. All right, now, so the next, of course, a new guitar. All right, so for many years, I started a punk band in 1999. Because I was in my late 30s and I'm like, if I'm going to have a punk band, I got to do it now. I'm not getting any younger, you know. But anyway, ever since then, I wanted a Gibson Les Paul Jr. Now, this is like a copy of a Les Paul Jr. And the company is Sire. Now, a month ago, I had no idea who Sire was, but they kept popping up as I would do research, and so the Larry Carlton issue. So this guitar, it's got an all mahogany body and neck. It's got rosewood fretboards, wraparound bridge, P90 soapbox pickup, a bone nut. The tuners are really, really nice. It's got a satin back, a satin neck rather. The body's gloss, but the neck's satin, which is cool. And it's got a little contour in the back right there. Now, you know, I spent, you know, a lot of times when I buy a guitar, you know, I buy them off my dad and my uncle when I can afford the ones that they have. And, you know, a lot of times it costs me like $1,000 or so. But this guitar, brand new from Sweetwater, cost me $400. And I cannot say enough about this company, Sire. The frets are so smooth and nice on the side. Like I said, it's a roll fretboard. That means it's like, you know, and yeah, I can't say enough about that guitar. All right, so flip around. Sorry to move you around all the time. All right. All right, everyone, so that's what I have for today. Hope I didn't bore you too much, you know. Try to make time for your hobbies. It's kind of important. You'll be glad you did. No matter what your hobbies are, there's many of them out there, and many of us have more than one, that's for sure. All right, so till the next time, take care, be safe, and thank you. Bye.